Alright, fellas, alright, let's dive right in. From the Spiffing Brit, Slay the Spire 2 is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits. We'll see about that, won't we? This video is a month old, so I think I know what exploit he's about to do, but it should still be fun. Let's see how he takes care of things here. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today you shall witness me breaking the hearts of the devs at Megacrit as I completely destroy their new hit game, Slay the Spire 2. I would like to think that this shouldn't be too difficult, as I've sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours into Slay the Spire, Monster Train, and basically every roguelike card game you can imagine. So naturally, when the devs dangle a sequel to Slay the Spire in front of me, I'm of course going to jump at the opportunity. Powered by the fuel of Yorkshire Gold and my crippling addiction to video games, I've not stopped playing this since it released. Luckily for me, the game is still in early access and has lots of bugs, infinite builds, and messed up game mechanics for me to play with. Think of me like a truffle pig looking for exploits. So grab yourself a nice warm cup of tea, give the video a like, and sit back and relax as we find out if Slay the Spire 2 is a perfectly balanced video game with no
Oops. Yeah, that was a very popular exploit in the first, well, not the first build, but early in the game's release, someone discovered a bug where you can just upgrade all your cards easily. I think that's what he's about to do here.
Exploits at all. For the American audience, that was sarcasm. So welcome on into the game. For those of you who've played Slay the Spire, this will be like...
Yeah, Americans don't get sarcasm. We're too sincere.
riding a bike. When you press play, the game generates a random seed map of events, enemies, and loot for you to pick up along your path. The things you do and cards you choose affect your path moving forward, so there's basically an infinite combinations of what you can run into. As you progress through the map, the enemies scale in difficulty, and in theory, things will get harder until you either die or beat the Chapter 3 boss. For this run, I think it's important to point out that I have decided to play on Ascension 1 difficulty, because I personally believe that Ascension 1, which is technically meant to be harder than the base game, is actually easier. And the reason is simple. It increases the spawn of elites. Elites are very difficult enemies that are hard to defeat, but they drop relics on their death.
Yeah, and if you're gonna be climbing up in ranks, going up into sessions, even though the enemies inspire the elites in Spire 2 are pretty hard, the same with Spire 1, you should still try to path into an elite or two to get some relics. I feel like relics aren't as strong in Spire 2 as they were in Spire 1. That's just my opinion. But it's still a good idea to try and get a relic.
Relics are buffs, curses, or boosts that are active the whole time you play, which means if you're me and you want to become powerful, you want to start relic farming as soon as possible. On top of this, I've unlocked loads of relics and cards by playing the game, and this should make the whole run a lot more interesting. So, our first encounter is with the lovely six-eyed whale Niao, who lets us choose one of 3 relics: New Leaf, Booming Conch, or Silver...
Yeah, you can tell this is from an older build, because Booming Conch also gives you 1 energy now in the current game as of this recording. It could change because the game's in early access. But yeah, Booming Conch wasn't picked that often. I don't know even after the change of adding an energy if it's picked. I know in this situation I would pick Silver Crucible. An upgraded card can make a huge difference. That's very true.
Crucible. Normally I would think about this, but New Leaf here is actually a perfectly balanced starting option, and it even allows us to begin our exploits right away.
Here we go. Yep,
this relic normally transforms one card into another, like making a striker defense, or if you're lucky, a special rare card. So I'm going to choose a strike card, and it will be transformed into one of these many options over here, which is good, but it doesn't break the game. We're still well within the realms of balance that the developers like. This is where arrow keys come in.
Yes.
By navigating the on-screen menus with the up arrow followed by a few left arrows, I can get back to my card choices in the background of the UI there. There is just one slight issue. I can highlight these other cards by pressing enter. This selects these cards, and I'll keep doing it until every card except the first one has a glowing blue border on them. The game is now perceiving that all 10 of the cards have been selected to be transformed, but surely the devs wouldn't allow me to press the... That's right, ladies and gentlemen, for my first...
Oh, it is a bit of a shame that they patched patched out this bug. I know it was an exploit and made the game super duper easy, but it was still very fun to see just what random bullcrap you could throw together in a run like this, where you transform all of your cards. Yeah, because sometimes you got something completely broken, and sometimes you got a complete mess that just didn't mesh with each other at all. This was such a fun bug. I do understand why they had to patch it out, but it was still fun. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
As trick, I've taken my base starting deck and gambled it into the abyss, giving me a whole new starting hand full of potentially powerful cards.
Yeah, and he has a good selection here too. That is definitely what we need. That's definitely what we need. A relic, different from Pandora's box. Not just my strikes and defense, but my entire deck. Transform the entire deck, like or make it like an act-free event or something. But grab as many garbage cards as you can, and then take it, gamble it all. Transform every single one of those cards into something fun. Not just from your color, but from someone else's color. And colorless too. Let it all ride. That would be so fun. I think you can do that in a custom game. You can't transform your cards, but you can mix all the colors and card rewards. It's very fun to see just what you get there.
They are random, but luckily we've had a pretty good roll of the dice, with 3 rare cards and some very useful skills, including my favorite, Capture Spirit. So let's continue our run down the right-hand side of the map and meet our character, the Necrobinder. They're actually new for Slay the Spire 2. We have quite low health comparatively to other characters, but this is made up for by her trusty hand Osti, who is a summoned bone hand who absorbs the damage inflicted before it hits us, giving us a nice health buffer. Still, let's start this fight against the Sea Punk by generating some block and flinging out 2 attacks. Now you will see that Osti immediately dies,
Yep.
but spawns back at the beginning of every turn with 1 HP. What a lovely little chap. These start
Yeah, it's worth noting that Osti only comes back if you have Necrobinder starting relic. If you like if this was Spire 1 and you gambled your starting relic away, you would need summon cards to get Osti back. Yeah, because he only comes back if you have the relic.
Starting fights are always longer with the base cards, and you can end up taking a lot of damage. But thanks to transformed cards like Enfeebling Touch, I can stroll through this combat by negating all damage the enemy would do. If that sounds unfair, I don't care. But it is the soul card here that is the most important part of my deck that I'm going to build around. The soul cards are gained by playing Capture Spirit, and the reason they're powerful is that they cost no energy, and they give free card draw. No energy is exactly the thing that leads to infinite builds in this game, and with the right things going on, we can potentially draw out our entire deck. So I can keep drawing until I have every single card I have in my hand, which gives me more than enough damage to kill the Sea Punk. Be gone! Right, so after this battle, we can pick up a potion, which is a one-time use item, money to be spent in shops, and cards. We get a few options, but for now I'm going to choose Friendship. This gives me less strength, meaning I do less damage, but it gives me extra energy, which allows me to play more cards on my
And that is a good card to take too, because in the same way I feel energy. I mean relics that relics lost a bit of their punch in Spire 1. Energy feels like it's a lot harder to come by in Spire 2. Yeah, because the relics that give you energy at a cost, those are now like locked to an Act 2 Ancient in Darv, so you're not gonna get energy that often. Yeah, so taking a card like Friendship is really good. Yeah, any way you can gain energy in this game, you always ought to take it, because energy gain is very, very hard in Spire 2.
turn. The next enemy is the Sludge Spinner, who does nothing particularly special, and unfortunately for him, I have a Wisp, which gives me an extra energy, and Eradicate,
Oof.
which does 6 damage per energy spent to cast it. So goodbye, good sir. He only got 1 chance to attack me, and it was never going to be good enough. Now, this card choice is interesting. We can choose a really powerful card that does 27 damage, a card that buffs my hand, or Poke. Obviously, I'm taking Poke. It's a 0 mana card that's not really very good, but it's going to make me feel all the more powerful when I break the game using this, one of the weakest cards imaginable. We've drawn into no good cards this turn, but thanks to my soul cards, I'm going to see what I can find.
Okay.
Perfect, Eradicate is more than enough to kill the back enemy. And just to be harsh, I saved the Poke for last. Poke. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand
death, yeah.
that poke is actually one of the most powerful actions a person can take. And if you would poke that like button now, I would be greatly appreciative. And I wouldn't poke you when you're down. Ooh, we've wandered upon a question mark and landed an event. We can get a random relic and a curse that would bloat my deck, or lose some HP and gain gold. I mean, come on, I am British.
Oh yeah, Yeah, I mean, gambling occurs for a random relic. In this particular Spire 2 event, yeah, more often than not, I grab the gold because relics have lost quite a bit of their punch in Spire 2. But there are some powerful relics you can only buy in the store. So getting more gold is always a good thing. Especially since the tent can often be found in the store. You want to be able to afford the tent. In this situation, I would definitely take the gold over the relic. You know, you avoid deck bloat and you get some money.
I mean, come on, I am British. Ah, and we have the first rest site of the game, where I can sit back, relax, and gain some of our
Here we
lost
go.
health. Or we can upgrade a card in our deck.
He's gonna upgrade everything, right? Yeah, that was also another very, very fun exploit.
Yes, a singular card. Oh, developers. Right,
Only
there
a
we go.
card.
I've selected all the cards in my deck, and when I now press the tick button, it has upgraded all of them. Say goodbye to game balance, and hello to God gameplay. This is only remotely possible because I drink a copious amount of Yorkshire tea, and you coffee-drinking heathens simply wouldn't be able to get on my level, so to speak. Right, we must continue. New enemy, here we go. This is definitely not just two gremlins stacked on top of one another.
Definitely
Let's negate
not.
all damage with this enfeebling touch. We can do an attack and buff up Osti a little bit. Then I will activate my trap card, Capture Spirit Plus, the upgraded version, and poke them, leaving them with 1 HP remaining, because yes, I've done this combat before, and spoilers, yes, it is two gremlins on top of each other in a suit. That eventually dismount, and this fat one at the back is going to try and run off with all of my money.
Yeah, he's kind of cute though, isn't he?
Unfortunately for him, he's going to die. Then with a poke and another Capture Spirit, I can drain the soul out of this one too. Perfect. Yes, the developers definitely don't intend you to have a fully upgraded deck at this stage of the game. But who cares about balance? I'm the Spiffing Brit. Now, this is where I'm going to start pivoting.
It's like balance be damned. If it's fun, it's fun, and people are gonna do it. Yeah, it might get patched right away. So if you do find a really fun bug, you know, exploit it as much as you can before the devs patch it out. In a single player experience, I should add. You know, just in case I need to clarify. Obviously, it doesn't exploit in a multiplayer game. You know, don't exploit on other people. I should go without saying, but you never know. Some people get super defensive about it. If it's a single player game, go full hog. Okay. Do whatever you like. You know, activate those cheats, exploit those bugs. A video game should be fun above all else. I know that's not often what the devs intended, and that is why Megacrit fixed those exploits. But still, you know, it was fun while it lasted.
Understand that a lot of players love taking all the loot, but with Capture Spirit, I'm going to try and go infinite, which means thinning my deck to make it easier to draw into my good cards. So I'll be skipping the card rewards here, and almost all of the ones in the future too. Right, we're up against our first elite. This is a high-powered, scary, and spooky Terror Eel. I'm going to shrink him with my Beetlejuice, so now he's just handheld eel. I'll hit him with Captured Spirit, a poke, and 11 damage. Unfortunately for Terror Eel, it isn't looking too good, for I shall eradicate him. For our first elite combat, I think that went quite well. He has dropped me this Sparkling Rouge relic, which gives 1 strength and 1 dexterity every 3 turns, which isn't bad, but as I'm trying to kill enemies before they get a chance to hit me, it isn't ideal for us. Once again, we're going
Yeah, turn free feels so far away, right? It really does. Yeah, I feel like there's the same thing in Spire 1 and 2. There are a lot of, you know, this next turn thing happens card. It's like there's so many of those kind of cards. I was like, I wonder if they realize how far away next turn is. You know, people don't want to wait till next turn. You know, so too much could happen in that time.
to ignore the cards and move on to the bonfire. Now we have upgraded every card in our deck, so we're forced to take a little nap before we venture onto the lovely relic room. It's a 50-50 choice, and I'm going to path to the left so that way I can run myself into another elite after my sleep. Okay, on to the next combat. Oh, it's the funky gardener fish. These are annoying because they gain block.
I hate these MS so much. You know, a very hard AoE check, okay? If you don't have AoE or a way to burst down targets one by one, you're in for a rough time. You know, they're not as annoying as the colony. Colony is very annoying. You can only do 15 damage to them at a time. But at least with these eels, there's no limit. If you can burst them down or slice them all down with AoE, go for it. It's it's generally a good idea to get AoE anyway, because not every boss is gonna have not every boss is gonna be solo. So having something to take care of it is always a good idea. Yeah, your deck needs to have a little bit of everything. Too many people try to pigeonhole themselves into just one build. You know, like, oh no, you know, I'm exhaust build right now, or oh I'm a forge build right now. Like no. You need to be prepared for everything that could happen. Yeah, it's fun to favor a certain build, but sometimes you need to improvise, get a bit creative, and grab a card like AoE, even if that's not what you were trying to quote go for.
When I attack,
that's why these guys are really rough
sometimes.
They catch you off guard.
Which is harder when there are 4 of them. But luckily for me, I have this potion that can kill one of them. Wait, that didn't blow him up. Oh, that's quite embarrassing. A misplay in a video. Surely we can edit around it. Go editors, pretend that didn't happen. Anyway, I'll weaken them so they do less damage, and just hope that I do better next turn. Right, I'm going to get some friendship, going for more energy. Osti will do an attack, then let's draw our whole hand. But we don't have enough to one hit right now, so I'll grab some shield and end my turn. Now, let's get creative by capturing the spirit of the front guy. Poke him and Raph, then hit the back chap for 14, then we'll just buff up Soulstorm to finish the fight.
There we go.
Let's pick up the vulnerable potion and Red Mask, which applies weak to all enemies, which means they do less damage, which is nice. And let's have a look at the cards. Ah, yes, we do have some rare cards. This is End of Days, which is really tempting. It's one of my favorite cards in the game, but it won't allow me to go infinite. Instead, let's pick up Neurosurge.
Neurosurge? You know, I don't play Necrobinder that much at all, so I'm curious what her infinite will entail.
Gains energy, draws us cards, and apply Doom. And best of all, it doesn't cost any energy to play, so of course I'll be nabbing it. Right, quick explainer. Doom is a mechanic that builds up over time and kills things at the end of their turn. Normally this is a downside, but with my Capture Spirit and Soul cards, I'll be able to play this over and over until my enemies die. I may be dead to Doom, but as it doesn't activate until I click this button to end my turn, if I can defeat the enemy, the combat ends and I walk away unharmed, which makes this a free mana and free draw card. And after upgrading it at a campfire, we now get even more energy. Oh yes, this is going very well indeed.
Okay.
And after passing battles with no good relics or rewards and killing them all in one turn, we're about to battle the first boss. So who is our boss? The Big Fish. An interesting boss, looking currently to bloat our deck with cards that will hurt us if we don't play them. However, we've the distinct advantage of card draw, which should stop too many shenanigans. Unfortunately, my deck is already a little big and I haven't started with any of my draw cards, which is an issue, but I'm sure we can...
Oh, I hate when that happens. When you have a deck built around card draw, you know, to set up, but turn 1, you don't get any of your draw cards. But especially against Soulfish, this MF is very annoying. I hate enemies that give you just billions of deck bloat. Like, stop it. She did once, yeah. I remember in the game we were playing together. She wasn't keeping track of how much doom she was giving to herself, and she didn't have any block, and Ozzy didn't have that much HP, right? She accidentally doomed herself. That was hilarious. Yeah, you do need to be careful in longer battles, especially since Necro doesn't start with a lot of HP. You know, free doom per turn will build up very quickly in longer fights. You gotta be prepared for that.
Muddle through. Okay, on our first turn, we still managed about 40 damage, and now the fish is ready to throw back at us. And yet again, I've missed all of my draw cards. Yeah, this is getting a bit too spicy for me, so I'm going to have to weaken him. And hopefully we can roll into draw next turn. If not, the run could end here with the boss killing me. Ah, yes, perfect. Here is the Capture Spirit, which I will immediately play, and then let's poke. I'll then rifle through my deck until I come across Eradicate, which should actually do the job after I use the Wisp. Oh my god, I didn't calculate it. I didn't calculate it. He's still on 6 HP. Unless I poke you, in which case you die.
There we go.
So even the boss didn't land a hit on the Necromancer. Many thanks to Osti, my good boy. And though many players would tell you to take one of the rare cards dropped by the boss, it is really important we start thinning our deck. So let's continue the run, and oh my, would you look at this? Darv the Hoarder is my hero. Yes, this gentleman is perfect for us. The Dusty Grimoire is actually one of the...
Yeah. Darv is the ancient that can give you past relics from Spire 1. But yeah, he also upgrades one of your cards the same way the Orobus does. This helps us infinite. I'm curious to see what happens.
Best cards I could have in my deck right now. It costs 1 energy when played and has no active skills in the combat, but it allows us to remove a card from our deck at the end of each fight, which means I'm going to take take this path to fin my deck really quick and get to that infinite build. Oh, and immediately the Grimoire. Oh, let's play it. Right, then we're gonna make you real feeble so you don't hurt me so bad.
Oh.
Right, Mr. Thieving Hopper, what are you going to take? Sikkim. Oh no, how could you? That's one of my cards. So on the second floor, the enemies are going to be more powerful and more dangerous. There's just one slight issue. Because I'm so gosh darn powerful, with just one Eradicate, he's dead. Now, the interesting thing here is after the combat, you can take back your stolen card, but he took something I don't need. So I'll actually just leave it on his corpse, skip all of these rubbish cards, and then remove my Spirit of Ash card because where we're going, we don't need block. So in that one combat, we managed to remove 2 useless cards from our deck. On to the next one. Oh, who are you? The Obscura. As you can see, the enemies are scaling pretty quick. Their HP is 1, 2, 3, and they're looking to summon friends into...
Oh god, yeah, the Obscura is such a difficult foe. It must be so satisfying to go infinite against this guy. Yeah, the little minion, he's, you know, the Obscura himself isn't too tough. It's a stupid minion that I absolutely hate. You know, it's not enough that it hits like a truck. It also needs to come back the same turn that you kill it, dude. Which is just very annoying. Yeah. A lot of enemies in Spire 2 are insanely tough like that. Yeah, like, it's embarrassing to say, but I've lost more runs to Obscura, to, you know, Hunter Killer, to those stupid cockroaches than I have to any bosses, right? I know, skill issue. It is, and I'll readily admit it, yes, it is a skill issue, but still.
the battle, which can make this a run ender if you don't have a decent build going into this point of the game. Thankfully,
yeah, see,
in our case, I'm just
too.
going to
A run ender
Neurosurge,
if you're not
hit you
prepared
with
for
a
this
poke,
guy.
and then pull off a
And even if
mega
you're prepared.
eradication, leaving you on 16.
Yeah, even if you're prepared, you know, one bad draw is all it takes, dude. One bad draw is all it takes. Oh yeah, and no worries, Wolf. No worries. So far, this video, we're talking about the old exploits that were in Slay the Spire before they got patched out. Yeah, this guy's just making a fun infinite build based on that. Yeah, but by using the soul cards for infinite draw and building energy to use Eradicate. Yeah. Self-Doom will catch up on you easily if you're not prepared.
HP, which means it doesn't matter if the summon comes into play, because when I kill you, they won't get to fight back. Oh, and let's remove the Afterlife from the deck. Yes, that's right, I'm the Spiffing Brit, and I just deleted the Afterlife. You're welcome. Now, my deck is down to 8 cards, and I think I'm going to change my pathing and look into this question mark. It's a shop! Shop is good. Oh, yes, this shop has something amazing. It's the Punch Dagger. Upon pickup, we get to enchant an
yeah. See, this is why gold's more valuable than relics in this game, and why you should prioritize picking relics. I mean, picking gold to buy powerful shop relics like this. Yeah, attach momentum to a free card, you know, like to Bolus right there, or to like Suppress Plus from the Silent, or any other card. You know, attach it to Bombardment even. Yeah, this can turn a powerful card into a monster card. Yeah, I always try to save up for something like Punch Dagger. That's way more valuable than any relic you can get in an event.
Momentum 5, basically whenever we play it, it increases the amount of damage done by this card by 5 for the rest of the combat. We're of course going to attach this to Poke. Yep, this is going to get very silly very quickly. Then we're going to move right into another elite battle with the Louse. He is so cute, oh my goodness. I will poke him, and then with our new effect on the card, it will increase its damage every time I play it. So on Neurosurge to draw the poke again, building its damage again, and then Forbidden Grimoire into Wisp into Eradicate to do big damage to the poor Louse. So here's the thing with the soul cards. Because my deck is so small, I can play them to draw other cards in my deck, meaning I'm able to play the amazing poke card here multiple times in the same turn. And of course, each time I play it, it increases in damage, meaning poor Mr. Louse here never stood a chance. Perfect, with our deck getting smaller, it may sound bold to get rid of that once helpful Soulstorm, but you have to trust the process. The less cards, the more poke. The more poke, the more damage. The more damage, the quicker I become an undefeatable god. We've moved into another elite room for this combat, but wait, he's giving me free energy. Well, thank you. Let me just use it quickly to poke him, get the free mana, Wisp, capture his spirit, Neurosurge, and hopefully poke maxing shall begin. We now have 8 energy, and we have another capture spirit which will generate more souls. We poke for 14 damage, then soul card into another soul card, and repeat until we have the same cards in our hand again. Then we can...
Oh yeah, that's a very powerful infinite he has going there. Poke maxing. You've heard of looks maxing, hag maxing, you know, anything maxing? No. You need to go poke maxing. That is the new trend. That is what's gonna make moves, make waves. Yeah, if you're able to thin your deck that much, yeah, and you get a fun infinite like this going, yeah, it turns, you know, the Infested Prism, it isn't a tricky fight compared to other Act 2 elites. You know, the Entomancer, and especially the Decimillipede are far more intimidating. Still, you know, this guy can pack a punch if you're careless about it, especially since he doesn't move or he'll block and do a lot of damage. Yeah, I think that the biggest threat is just how much HP he has compared to the other elites.
Poke even more, and this loot does damage over and over at the cost of 1 mana. This might look like the infinite I've been aiming for because it is really overpowered, but it technically isn't yet there. Whilst we do have a lot of energy, we have to burn some in order to get the soul cards. I mean, I could play poke and the soul card again, and I know that I'll immediately draw that poke as it's the only card in my draw pile, and the elite here isn't even going to get a chance to fight at all. So using our newfound cycle, we'll keep progressing through these battles, ignoring cards, collecting gold, and overall being unstoppable. We have done it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that must be so satisfying to do that against those little things. These things are so annoying. You know that elite Inspire 1? The elites that take turns dizzing you and doing damage? This is the same elite, only now it's a normal encounter. Completely on crack. It's awful. So it feels so great to just punch the daylights out of these things with a good infinite. Yeah, that's true, Wolf. That's very true. Some people just get way too obsessed with the wrong thing. They need to be obsessed with video game exploits instead.
We have done it, ladies and gentlemen. In one of the final rooms, I have found the final piece to our puzzle. Borrowed Time. It applies Doom and gives us energy for no energy cost at all. Free energy. Yes, with nothing now in my way, I'm going to tidy this deck up a bit by removing the Eradicate, who did a lot of the heavy lifting to get us here, but now is just getting in my way.
Goodbye,
and we can
Eradicate.
Smith Borrowed Time, which gives us even more free mana. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to floor 33. We are up against the Insatiable, one of the most devastating, terrifying, and evil enemies, and we're going to kill it on turn 1. Very simply. Our deck only has 7 cards in it, and we draw all of them on the first round of combat.
And that's very lucky too, yeah, because normally the Insatiable is also a really tricky boss fight. Not hard, really, not really hard, but you know, if you get a bad draw on a turn you really need Frantic Escape, yeah, that's very rough.
But 4 of these cards go away once we play them, so let's get them out of the way now. Forbidden Grimoire, Wisp, and technically Neurosurge, but we'll keep you around for a second longer, so we can break the game with 3 cards: Captured Spirit, Borrowed Time, and Poke. The way it's going to work is quite simple. Captured Spirit is going to hit the Insatiable, generating 4 soul cards from my draw pile. I can then use Neurosurge here to not only gain mana, but also draw those initial soul cards, which I can then use to draw other soul cards, and most importantly, draw the Captured Spirit. By doing this, we're left over with 1 more soul card than we started with. However, we have 1 less mana than we started with, which is entirely negated with the energy gained from Borrowed Time. We do gain Doom, which is scary, but we won't be ending this turn without killing the boss, which means just like the French word for don't retreat, it's functionally irrelevant. So that's what we're going to do. We poke, we play Borrowed Time, we play a soul, we draw again. We generate some more soul cards, we poke, we borrow time, we draw into them, we repeat this cycle until we have our entire deck back out. Now our poke's doing 24 damage, we repeat, and you'll notice in this entire cycle I'm actually gaining mana. We're now up to having 13 mana. So the longer this goes on, the more damage poke does, the more mana we have, and the longer we can cycle over and over again. There are more soul cards building up in my hand, and we're just going to keep on playing infinitely. The enemy here doesn't get to have a turn of the game, purely because I don't want them to, and I am the god of this universe. So we're just going to keep on drawing over and over again, and now Poke is going to do 54 damage, killing the Insatiable before it gets a turn. Yes, you can't fight back. Your foolish hubris to even stand against the might of I, the Spiffing Grit, as I dominate my way through this tower and teach the enemies the true definition of the word hubris. Now our deck is absolutely perfect. I don't need to remove any more cards. Unfortunately, the Grimoire can't remove itself, so I'll continue smashing my enemies into the floor until they give in.
Bam, 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 bam. That is exactly how it should be done. Yeah, that is the best kind of feeling, absolutely. I do understand why they had to patch it out. If every fight was like this, it'll get boring very quickly. Yeah, and it's hard. And it's harder to remove cards after they patch the exploit. But yeah, if you do find a way to build an infinite like this, even without exploits, it really is just super fun to endlessly play. Yeah, it takes a bit of cleverness and a bit of luck to pull off, but then taking care of everything so easily, it becomes a lot more fun that way. Oh, and it sounds like you had fun to Lako before the stream. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, playing outside the box, it's its own reward in a way. Oh, taking care of those guys turn 1, yeah.
And we have ourselves an elite, the Soul Nexus. Ooh, very spooky. Poke, Capture Your Spirit, Wisp, Borrow Time, Forbidden Grimoire, Neurosurge, and there we go, Soul Nexus. It's over. It doesn't matter now. You can just retire because I am flinging cards randomly at you in glorious fashion. Right, onwards we go into the final campfire where we can rest. And now it's time for the final boss of the game. Yes, we are up against the door. Okay, no, it's not actually the door. This is a bit of an early access placeholder. But once you defeat the door, a gentleman shall reveal himself on the other side. He is going to be by far the toughest enemy we've faced in this entire game. However, we're never actually going to end our turn. We're going to turn 0 the boss.
Okay, yeah. Doormaker doesn't exist anymore. It makes you wonder how this infinite could have gone if you had faced Aeon Glass. Because Aeon Glass will keep adding it'll add wizards to your decks. So I wonder if you try to pull an infinite against Aeon Glass. I think this infinite might have fallen apart quickly, right? Yeah, because Soul only draws cards; it doesn't discard them. So yeah, in a way, you're kind of lucky that you can't try to pull this off against the Aeon Glass because Aeon Glass adds cards to your deck every 4 non-status cards you play, which is very annoying. As I learned yesterday, very annoying. You're not prepared for it. So I guess in a way, it's kind of good that you can't experience that kind of frustration against the Aeon Glass. Doormaker could also be a bit annoying, but in his first form here, he wasn't too bad.
So we capture Spirit on the door, we play our Wisp, Borrow Time, and we poke. And now the fun begins, as we're going to infinitely poke down this door into a state of weakness. Alright, there we go, Mr. Door is down to 3 HP, so with one final poke, huzzah! It's the Doormaker! He says, who's there? He's stunned, so he won't even act on this turn, but next turn he'd start hitting us for a huge amount of damage and then summon another door for us to fight. Unfortunately for Mr. Doormaker here, he is screwed. We're going to make him weak and vulnerable. Technically, we can also go fully infinite here by drinking the Touch of Insanity and making Capture Spirit completely free to cast. At this point, we can go infinite without even using Borrowed Time. So that's exactly what I might as well do. We're just going to repeatedly cycle over and over again, generating new souls, and now Poke is doing 96 damage. Oh dear, Mr. Doormaker. I'm afraid Mr. Poke is doing 69 damage, but on your vulnerable body, that's 103. So, with just 6 cards in my deck, and only 3 that actually matter, oh, Mr. Doormaker, I think you forgot the key. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed your journey into the madness with me, and that you can agree Slay the Spire 2 is a perfectly balanced game with absolutely no exploits.
Absolutely.
I'm sure after this video the devs will patch everything I've done, so quickly flee, hop on, do some multiplayer with your friends, or try some of the broken exploits out for yourself before they do, and let me know how it goes in the comment section. If you want to see more content like this, then give it a like and consider subscribing. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and thank you as always to our glorious Patreons and YouTube members for supporting this channel, you majestic sausages.
That was a really great video.
I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful
nice little
day,
look into the
and
past
goodbye
there.
for now.
I don't feel too bad for Doormaker myself though, because You know, he was annoying. He was annoying. Not a hard boss, just annoying. Yeah, alright. Link to y'all the video. Make sure you give it a watch and a like yourself. This Biffy Bit does really, really great funny videos. Make sure you check it out, give it a watch yourself. Allow me to present the manifestation of the child who would never let anyone else have a turn with their toys. Like I said, you know, I do understand why they had to patch it out. I do. You know, the game wasn't meant to be like that. But still, you know, it was fun while it lasted. Me and my sisters did a bunch of games with that exploit there. It was very, very fun. You know, you shouldn't climb ascensions with that exploit. But doing just normal games, you know, just for the fun of it, why not, right? Why not? At the end of the day, a game should be fun. A game should be fun.